All right, guys, for today, we're going to talk about the stock market ticker. That's that thing that runs across the bottom of the screen that looks like a lot like mumbo jumbo probably to most of you. That we're going to look at that today, how to tell how many trades were done, how many shares were sold in each one of those, and then like what the volume and how much money and everything like that is. All right, so first thing, stock information transmission machine. It was actually invented by Thomas Edison, is the stock ticker. So that thing that scrolls across, that was actually invented by Thomas Edison. Yes. He's a smart guy. All right. And that stock symbol or the ticker symbol, it can be used either way, whatever word you want to use for that. That's just like the letter or letters used to identify the corporation. So again, like we talked about, Cedar Point was fun. Harley Davidson is hog, right? Some of them are kind of funny. But stocks that trade on the New York Stock Exchange have 1, 2, or 3 letter symbols. So if you see that it has 1, 2, or 3 letters, there's a good chance it's on the New York Stock Exchange. If it has 4 letters to it, then it's actually trading on NASDAQ. So I think it's 4, or I think technically it could be 4 or 5 now on NASDAQ. The what one? Oh, yeah. Goob, right there. That's 4 letters. That's trading on NASDAQ. Anthony Wayne, yes. I don't know if it made the banks go. The economy, when the economy crashes, because of the stock market crashing, that causes things. But it's not because of that. That causes the economy to crash, which causes people to panic, which makes them pull their money out of banks, which makes the banks falter. It's like a domino effect. Sometimes. But a lot of it is people panicking and pulling money out of banks, too. Yeah. It's all a big domino effect, though. One thing kind of affects the next and on down. Yeah.
We got money from the bank and then got stocks with it, and then the bank crashed. Yeah, everybody was buying stocks. Stock market crashed, and that's what the Great Depression was trading.
Something like that. I'm not a history person. No, if there's any subject I wish I was better at, it's history. I wish I knew more. I just don't. Guys, this is not social hour. Josh?
Yeah, we were doing a stock market thing, and the amount of money you got from your stocks, we had this like fake auction where people donated stuff that we can actually auction off
The money from your stocks? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
somebody
fun.
won like a 70-inch TV.
That's awesome. I like that idea, though. We'd have to do the stock market earlier and like let it play out a lot longer, probably. Do you know what I mean? People have the chance to sell at different times. That would be fun. That's something to think about in the future. That would be kind of fun. I like that idea. All right. The trading volume, we've talked about this already, but trading volume is the number of shares traded in a single transaction. So every time you see that thing go across the screen, right, if you're watching a channel that's got that scrolling in the bottom, that's every time a trade is done. It's running that across. So if you would make a trade, you would see your info, not your personal, but like your stock info scroll across the bottom of the screen. Okay? Everything's done online anymore, so yeah, it would happen online and then that would scroll across so everyone can see it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So things are always abbreviated. We like to keep things, this is very concise. So it's going to be abbreviated either with a K for 1,000, an M for million, or a B for billion. Okay, so every time you have shares, like if I sold 4,000 shares, it would come across as 4K, 4,000, right? So like this one is 5,000. So you just have to be aware what that is. It's because they're trying to abbreviate that down to not take up space. Okay, that's the next thing on here. The trading price, your price per share, how much it sold for. So if you read this one across, this is saying like Microsoft traded 5,000 shares at $61.25. Yeah, it's actually how we say it. 5,000 shares at $61.25 per share. All right, and then we know the directional arrows are either up or down, right? Because that's comparing this price with yesterday's close. So on this one, it's a downward arrow, right? Downward triangle technically, but that's a lot of times how they look. This is saying that this price is down $1.35 from yesterday's closing price. So if they'd have sold them yesterday, they'd made more money. Devin, you all right?
That's good for the buyer. Bad for the seller.
Correct. It's kind of like when you're buying or selling a house, right? You want to buy when the market's crappy, so everything's not worth as much, so you can get it cheaper, but you want to sell it when it's up top. Yeah, so depending if you're a buyer or a seller, you're either happy or not happy. All right, so Marcy's following the stock market ticker, scrolling across the bottom of her TV screen on the cable business station. She had purchased some shares of Visa last week and is interested in seeing if there's any current trades. She knows that Visa has this ticker symbol V. She saw the following information. So if it's got a V, is that New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ? New York, good. So she saw the following information. What can she learn from this line of symbols? In other words, could you read to me what that means? No. Don't start with 12,000. What's the V? Visa. Nope.
12,000 shares at 8.
All right. So Visa, 12,000 shares at $87.37 total per share. Yep, that's per share, which is 12 cents per share more than yesterday. More than yesterday. When yesterday? Ran out of space. Yesterday's closing price.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to write all that out, but as a lazy mathematician, right, we can kind of take that into a lot less symbols, a lot less writing, but we know what it means. Okay, right, so Visa, there were 12,000 shares sold at $87.37 per share, which is 12 cents higher than yesterday's closing cost, or 12 cents more than yesterday's closing. Kinda, yeah. I mean, obviously, as long as I understand what you mean. All right. Kevin knows that General Electric has the ticker symbol GE. What can Kevin learn from the following line of symbols? So go ahead, take a minute, write down in plain English what that means. Yep. All right, so guys, here's how I wrote it, right? General Electric traded 12,000 shares at $73.72 per share, which is 55 cents less than yesterday's closing price. Now, Haley, how did you word yours? Because I know you worded yours differently.
General Electric sold 12,000 shares at $73.72 per share, which went down 55 cents from yesterday's.
Good. She said it went down from 55 cents from yesterday's. Yeah, did you word something differently? Yep, same thing. Yep, totally fine. Nope, totally fine. So again, your wording can be slightly different as long as it means the same thing. I'm totally fine with that. And I said traded, you could have said sold, you could have said bought, because if I'm selling, that means somebody else has to be buying. So I just said trading because that's obviously what we're doing, right? We're just trading with each other. Okay, so Tom needed money for graduate school tuition. He called his broker and asked her to sell all 3,000 shares of his Coca-Cola, which is KO, shares on Wednesday, as soon as the trading price hit $57 per share. Tom knew that Coca-Cola closed at $57.25 on Tuesday, so that'd be the day before. How will his trade appear on the ticker? So knowing the info, can you now do the other direction where you actually write out the ticker symbols? So what's the first thing I would write? KO, knockout. Then what? Good. It'd be 3K. We always write with that K, an M, or a B, depending on what kind of shares you have. At 57. triangle down. If you want to just do an arrow, you could do an arrow too. It doesn't matter. And it's down how much? 25 cents. Yeah. Yesterday was 57.25. He's going to sell them at 57. So it's down 25 cents from yesterday.
So wait, just waiting for it to go down?
I know, it makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
Why would he be like, yeah, if it's 57, go ahead and sell? I'd be like, if it's
Sell it.
57 or more, go ahead and sell? Like, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. So what about number 4? What would the previous day's close for a share of Coca-Cola if the ticker had read like that? That means yesterday would have actually been what price? Thank you, Luke. Yesterday would have been $56.75. Because this is saying the $57 is 25 cents more than yesterday. That means yesterday was 25 cents less than that. Okay? So you got to be careful when you're reading that, which direction to kind of go. You okay?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Total value of a trade. So the value of a trade is like all together, all my shares for however much I sold them kind of put together, right? So it's determined by multiplying the number of shares by the price per share, which I hope is pretty common sense at this point. Now, this value does not include fees. Remember yesterday when you guys were working on the project, you had the part that multiplied by that 5% fee. One of our other sections we'll talk about, actually talks about the fees for brokers. All right, so number 5, Tony purchased 15,000 shares of stock of Target Corporation at $54.88 per share. Her trade appeared on the stock ticker as Target, right? 15,000 shares at $54.88 per share, which was up 17 cents from yesterday. What was the total value of her trade? So how many shares did she sell? 15K or 15,000, and then we'll multiply by how much she sold each share for. 54.88. Why don't you try reading that number again? Because you said 100 twice when you were reading that. There it is. $823,200. Now, that's like, holy crap, look at that money, right? But what if she had bought them for like, oh yeah, she bought them, sorry. What if she sells them later for like $70 a share? She's going to make some good money. But what if she sells them later for like $20 a share? Right, yeah. So again, that's that. If you're paying that much money and buying shares, you're taking a chance. You could make money or you could lose money in the future. It just depends what the company does. Sure. It's kind of like that. You can't make money without having money. Do you know what I mean? You got to have money to make money. I always hate that.
You gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah. Or those jobs when you go to apply for a job and they're like, you need experience before we'll hire you. And you're like, how am I going to get experience if you won't hire me? I hate jobs like that.
Everybody else
I know. I hate that.
College, every job she went to, they're like, you need like 2 years experience. She's like,
Please give me 2 years experience. Yeah, like, how am I going to learn?
just went to like college for like 2 whole years.
Yeah.
And everywhere goes, like, they were like,
You need experience.
well,
I know.
I just went to college.
That's my experience, right? Josh? Guys, shh. Devin.
Have you seen that like they will train you? It even says you need experience before you come here.
I know, it's like, how do I get experience if you won't hire me? I know. All right, number 6. Suppose Tony made her purchase at the previous day's closing price. What would have been the difference between the values of the trades? So if she made it yesterday, so it's still the 15,000 shares, right? But what would yesterday's price have been? Right, because this price was up from yesterday. So yesterday would have been 17 cents less. So 71. So yeah, if she had purchased yesterday instead of this day, it would have cost her 820,650.
17 pennies.
All right. So how much money would she have saved? So yeah, she'd have saved $2,550. It asked what would have been the difference between the value. It would have been $2,550 cheaper. She'd bought it yesterday instead of today.
That's wild.
That's one of those things like why I can't play the stock market, because I'm like somebody who goes out and researches to make sure I'm gonna like get the best deal, the best bang for my buck. And if I buy it thinking I'm good and then I like the very next day it drops and I'm like, should have bought it today. Like I'd have been mad at myself, right? Like, I just can't do that. Devin? Me personally? No. There's no sure things. And it's everyone's personal choice. My neighbors, they do stocks like crazy. Like every day when I'm coming home, he is sitting in front of his computer researching stocks and all this, that, and the other. That's just his thing. It's my neighbors, yeah. Me personally, it's just not my thing. There's no curtain on that window. It's right in the front of their house. You can see it. Yeah.
And Alex, he was always sleeping in the class, but the only time he was awake was to like check the stock market. And now he's like in the Air Force and like really successful. People are all like, why can't we just sleep in class and end up like Alex?
Not everyone's smart like that.
Yeah, Alex.
Alex will be successful because he works hard. He pays attention. Wow. All right. Grandpa left his 3 grandchildren 8,750 shares of Apple in his will. The grandchildren sold all of the shares at a price of $190.30 on Friday. The closing price of Apple on Thursday was $187.83. How did this trade appear on the stock ticker? Okay, so AAPL. Okay, AAPL, then what? 8 point what? There you go, 8.75K. Now, how did you get that? He is smart. 1,000. Yeah. So all he was doing, he's moving a decimal, but in essence, he's dividing by 1,000. If you're changing it to a K, you're dividing by 1,000. K. K. All right, then what do I put? At 190.30. Which way does the arrow go? Up. Because they bought them at 190.30, and then they told us the other day, the day before was that. So we got to subtract that to see the difference. So that's up $2.47 from yesterday. Yeah, that's a big change. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, just think about it this way. So if you would do the math on this, 8750 times 190.30. So when they sold them, they sold it for 1 million. Oh my goodness, what is that? $1,665,125. If they had sold them the day before at the cheaper price, well, they'd still make money, but they'd have been 1,643,512.50. But look at that difference. That's a difference of $21,000. If they'd have sold the day before, they would have made $21,000 less.
I mean, they still got $1.6 million from.
I mean, they do, but I'd like an extra 21,000. I mean, if I'm getting money, I might as well get a little more. Just saying. Guys, shh. No, you pay them to buy it. If you're going to a store, right? You're buying it. You're investing your money in a company is what you're doing. And if nothing, so that you hopefully can sell it when the company is doing better, it's worth more, then you sell it and you make money. That's kind of like when you buy a house, right? And I bought my house, our first house. We bought our house. We made some improvements to it or whatever, which would be equivalent to the business making improvements in their business. And then when we sold our house, we sold it for more than we bought it. So we made a profit when we sold the house. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we added a deck and some stuff on the back. And
If I buy a house, then I do a picture of it, like, say an old house and I have all whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I can sell it away for it. I bought it.
Mm-hmm. People do that all the time. They flip houses. Turn on some HGTV. There's shows on there all the time where they buy houses that are kind of crappy and whatnot, and then they redo them, and then they sell and make a huge profit. But that's kind of like the stock market. You are like investing in the crappy house that needs fixed up, and you're hoping they fix it up and sell it, then you can sell it and make more money. So that's what you're doing.
It could be very bad.
Mm-mm.
Like,
No. You are letting them use your money to run their business, but you're hoping that in return that business is going to get better and be worth more money, so then you can sell your stock and then make more money than you paid for it. You are taking a gamble that the company that you're buying stock in is actually going to improve and be worth more money in the future.
It's just like going to the casino.
Kind of.
isn't there gonna be
I don't know if it's a slot machine.
So you have to determine when you think the peak is and sell. See, if you're like, yeah, they peaked right now, and you sell, and then the very next week, like they come out with the self-driving car or something like that, and then other stock jumps up again, and then you're like, crap, sold too soon. See, that kind of thing would drive me nuts. That's why I'm like, I'm out. I can't do it.
you hire people to do your stock market? You can be like,
Yeah.
you hire a broker, like, you hire
Yeah, stockbrokers, that's what they do.
No, like I know, like you can
Like a financial, like analyst kind of person that will.
hire somebody like.
Yes. You can literally be like, here's $10,000. I want you to invest that in whatever you think the best stocks are. Done. Yeah. Sure
I
can.
might be able to do that. Like if I
But you have to trust the person that you're doing. Because what if they invest in crappy stocks for you?
or they're
Or they're a scammer. Check their Yelp. Like people who like invested in Apple really early on in the company when they were like just starting. Look how much money they've made now. What if they invested in Google? People who invest, you know what I mean? Like those companies that like they all started somewhere kind of not so great, and now they're like these huge houses. You know what I mean? Amazon. So Amazon, Google, and Apple, they all started in somebody's garage. Jordan? Guys. Shh. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, there'd be a paper trail somewhere for that. So yeah.
so then where would your stocks go?
It would go to whoever inherited anything that they had. It would go to them.
And then you gotta sell them stuff.
So like if my parents pass away, like all of my parents' things go to me and my brothers. So if they had stock, they don't. But if they did, it would just get transferred into our names.
So me and my brother get my dad's stock.
If that's how, unless he has, it usually goes to next of kin unless they have a will that says it goes elsewhere. Next of kin. You guys heard that saying before? You've never heard next of kin? It's your closest relative. So like if you're married, kin, K-I-N. No, next of kin, it's K-I-N, kin. Next of kin. Next of kin just means your closest like relation. So like my next of kin is my husband. If someone happened to me, my stuff would be left to him. And then if If he's no longer in the picture, then it would go to my children. If you're single and have no kids, then it would go to either your parents or your siblings first. And it goes on down the lines from there. All right, last question, guys. Express 0.15 M shares traded using the K symbol. So right now, what is 0.15 M? So I would have to do 0.15, and I'd have to multiply that by 1,000,000. I said nobody else do that. Yeah, that's 150,000. All right, so guys, in order to transfer from one symbol to another symbol, you have to first kind of take it to what it actually is, right? So that would be 150,000, and then to switch it to 1,000, or to the K, which is 1,000, I have to do what with this? Or mathematically speaking, I'm actually dividing by 1,000. So that would be 150K. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see where you're going, but that line of thought is going to be lost on about half your classmates. I was going to say, yeah. So Alex was like, yeah, I got you. He's like,
What do you say?
yeah. So, but yes, Jonas, you're right. If that makes sense to you, absolutely. All right. So guys, do we have questions on the ticker symbol and how that works? Yeah. It just is changing from M for millions using the K symbol. So you just have to take it back to what it really is, right? And then switch it back and forth. Yeah, you can switch all of them. No. So really, if I had 150,000 shares, would you write 0.15 M? Probably not. You'd write 150K.